Eric and I are more resigned. I'm not sure where Cakes is on an anger meter. We sense a little anger from you guys about the poopy pen. And then beyond your feelings, who do you blame?
Right. So it's not Dusty's fault that the bullpen's terrible. Let's start with that. The bullpen, from a talent standpoint, is not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
What they
and Mike knows that.
Well, Mike knows that, obviously. I do blame probably primarily the learners because I think Mike Rizzo made an attempt to go get a couple of quality.
He wasn't having that.
By the way, Kenley Jansen, they made a chase for it. You don't need to pay him as much as they did. I think Mark Melanson got overpaid. I didn't have a problem with that.
But they did also offer those guys big money. Jansen more than what.
Agreed.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. They made a valiant effort. I have been told, though, I've heard that guys like, and I'll just throw a random name out there most people haven't heard of, Ryan Madden, goes for the Phillies, was in the World Series a couple years ago, is a setup man with Oakland right now. Kind of guy that's available. They could have gotten him 3 weeks ago. I would offer up a mid-level prospect for him. The A's would probably take that.
That's the assumption.
Well, I've been told with someone with the team that they kicked the tires on a deal very similar to that, but that they would have to take on money to bring him in and maybe weren't allowed to do that.
Well, then again, that is 100% on the learners.
Yeah,
it can't be a little bit. That has to be 100%.
So I'm saying if that is indeed the case and what I've heard is true, then it is a learner's problem. It's partially a Rizzo problem because you can get cheap arms that can help you out, and they didn't do that either. But here's the issue I think both of us have, and Danny, you can kind of echo these sentiments. The bullpen problems are compounded by Dusty Baker's usage. And that is the problem I have. When we've gone back to day one with Dusty, who we both said is a good manager, will make the playoffs. He did last year. He'll be your 90-plus wins. He's great in the clubhouse. You do two things in managing that matter the most. Manage your pitching and manage personalities with the media, with the clubhouse, with your players. He's amazing at one. He's terrible at the other.
You think he's terrible at it?
Terrible. I think he's really bad.
I'm curious because I see your tweets from time to time during a game.
Yesterday, they blew a save,
like
right?
every inning. And does your blood pressure really rise as much as I would guess when you're watching a game at home?
Yes, I'm a passionate person. Now, this is unequivocal. You do not throw guys 3 straight days unless it's the most dire of circumstances, unless it's like must win October, we win or go home. If we're in the playoffs, whatever it is. He did it to Felipe Rivero last year, right when Eric Bickle declared, this is my guy, Felipe Rivero. All of a sudden, blows up, can't get anybody out.
By the way, he did it to Sean Kelly last year.
Did it to Sean Kelly.
2 Tommy John surgeries. Later in the season had arm problems and hasn't been the same since. Multiple times he pitched on 3 straight days
last night,
year.
Albers and Romero couldn't go.
You know why? Because they pitched up 5 runs the night before on the 3rd straight night. They were winning by 5. They both pitched for the 3rd straight game for no reason when they were up by 5 runs and 4 runs when they came into the game. So the next day, you've got a 2-run lead to protect, and Fat Joe Blanton, who gives up a homer every time he throws a pitch, is in the game. And the next thing you know, you got Blake Trinan in the 9th because that worked so well earlier this year. Had he have pitched Oliver Perez, who was rested, had he have pitched Jacob Turner, who hasn't pitched in 3 months.
In a month.
Had he have pitched Joe Blanton up by 5 runs instead of 2, then he would have had the luxury of calling on his 2 best relievers right now yesterday to close the game.
So you guys have a lot of anger towards it, and I can agree with some of your points, but I also believe just big picture-wise, he doesn't trust any of them. He doesn't trust any of them, and how can you?
I mean, how could he at this point?
Then why not just pick who is coming in out of a hat? Do the right thing. Do the correct process. Like, don't hit Ryan Rayburn second, ever, under any circumstance. AAA Timmy should be sitting on the bench doing like this. Here we go, guys. Here we go, not me. Here we go, major league hitter. Stop the nonsense. 1st and 3rd, nobody out. Who trots to the plate? Oh, Ryan Rayburn. And God bless his tender little heart. Should not be batting in that situation. Who should be? I don't know, the guy that finished 5th in MVP voting 2 years ago, hitting 2nd, who should be an all-star. 300 hitter, getting on base at over a 40% clip with 16 bombs, Anthony frickin' Rendon.
Who should bat leadoff? Just curious.
Right now, Rendon.
Right now, it should be Rendon. I could even live in a world where Bryce Harper leads off, trying to get hit the way Rizzo, because Harper's not hitting for power.
Right.
3 home runs.
What do you expect is going to happen tonight with Dusty?
Michael A. Taylor or Brian Goodwin?
Yes, it's going to be one of the faster players on the team who don't have good at-bats, who don't see pitches, who have high strikeout rates, and they will bat leadoff.
But don't you think, I'm just curious, because don't you think Mike Rizzo and all the analytics people that they have do present that to Dusty?
Well, first of all, 2 things. Number 1, how do you know he doesn't? Dusty does the lineup. He says it to you guys every time he's on. When he used to come on with us, he'd say the same thing. Yeah. The lineup is Dusty.
Yeah, the lineup guys belongs to the manager.
I understand that, but I'm saying
so I'm sure he might say something.
He has the information.
Hey, Dusty,
he just chooses
it's
to go another way.
2017. You should not be batting this guy first. And Dusty might say, "Yeah, I'll handle this. Thanks."
That's not the problem.
It's like dealing with a certain person. Let's say I'm a lunatic. Okay, actually I am. But in order to deal with me, you have to have a tray of fruit every day. Is it worth it? In order to deal with Dusty, you've got to give him certain little concessions. That's all I'm saying. He's eccentric enough where if you want Dusty to manage your team at half of what a normal manager makes, you're going to have to go ahead and let him do the occasional thing that's stupid. Analytically, it doesn't make sense. Baseball-wise, it doesn't make sense. I don't care what school of thought you come from. Having a worse hitter hit second versus sixth is not done. It just isn't done, JP. There's no level it makes sense.
I don't disagree with your specific points on it, but maybe his thinking is, all right, when they get the lineup that they want ultimately, maybe he likes Rendon at 6 and he's got it going. He doesn't want to disrupt it.
Here's the thing.
So let's just keep him there because eventually we're going to get the 1 and 2 hitters that we want.
Now, you guys have the luxury of staying up and watching these press conferences or even, God forbid, having the interest in going to them.
Yes.
We're asleep. So after the games, I'm certain Dusty is asked, why is so-and-so batting 6, not second?
I believe
what does Dusty say?
He's been asked like once. He doesn't want to change something that's working.